Hey there. Today we're going to talk about simplifying radicals. Now all a radical is just like a square root or any other type of root. Cube root, could be a fourth root, but we're going to focus here first with square roots. And just talking about how we go ahead and simplify them. So the first one we're going to do together is taking the square root of 20. We're going to talk through sort of what procedure, what things you should be thinking about. The easiest way to simplify square roots is to find the largest perfect square that goes into that number. So when you think about the number 20, you want to ask yourself, what perfect squares do I know go into 20? Well, one perfect square that I know goes into 20 is 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down. I'm going to break 20 down into its factors. One factor of 20 is 4, and it's 4 times 5. That's equivalent to 20. Now, I know what the square root of 4 is. Since 4 is a perfect square, I can take the square root of it, and it comes outside, since I know what the square root is. Square root of 4 is 2. So the 2 comes onto the outside. And what's left inside the square root is whatever we didn't simplify, which is the number 5. Now, 5 can't be simplified any further. It's not a perfect square. It doesn't have any factors that are perfect squares. So this is the simplest that we can get the square root of 20. It's going to be 2 times the square root of 5. And that's our solution. Now we're going to do this next question, which is the square root of 32. Again, you want to have the same thinking. What's the largest perfect square you know that goes into 32? I'm not exactly sure, but I'm pretty sure 4 goes into 32 as well. So let's just try that again. Maybe it's not the largest, but let's see what happens. So we take the square root, and we're going to break it down into 4 times 8, because 4 times 8 is equivalent to 32. And I know that the square root of 4 is 2, so I take the 2, take the square root and pull it outside, and we get a 2 on the outside, and 8's left on the inside. However, 8 has another perfect square inside of it as a factor, because 4 goes into 8. So I'm actually going to split it down again to 4 times 2. And what we're going to be left with is we're going to take the square root of 4 again and pull it outside. So now what I'm left with is 2 2's on the outside, and 1 2 left on the inside. And I'm just going to simplify this outside by multiplying the 2's together. So we're going to wind up with 4 times the square root of 2. Now, we could have done that problem more quickly if we had remembered that 16 is actually the largest perfect square that goes into 32. So pretty much doesn't matter which perfect square you pick, or even if you pick a perfect square at all right away. As long as you're finding factors and splitting it up, you're eventually going to get yourself to the answer. However, finding the largest perfect square is always going to be the fastest way. So why don't you press pause and try the 2 bottom examples right now. Okay, now that you've tried the 2 bottom examples, we're going to do them together. This time with a focus on trying to find the greatest perfect square. So 18, the greatest perfect square that goes into 18 is the number 9. And it's 9 times 2, or the 2 factors of 18 that are equivalent. I know that the square root of 9 is 3, so that's what's going to come on the outside. 3 is going to be left on the outside, and then whatever's left on the inside just stays there, the 2. So the square root of 18 is 3 times the square root of 2. The very last problem we have is 98. Now, I'm not quite sure what perfect square goes into 98, so I'm just going to pick any factor. I'm actually going to pick the easiest factor I know. 98's even, so I know 2 has to go into it. 2 times, oh gosh, what's 2 times 2? That'd be 49. So 2 times 49 is what 98's equivalent to. But look here, 49 is actually a perfect square. It's 7 times 7. So since I know that 49 is 7 times 7, it means the square root of 49 is 7. And what we're left with on the inside is the 2. So this is our square root fully simplified. The square root of 98 is 7 times the square root of 2.